This is JJ Cruz once again. Hello everyone. Hope you are having a good time. Hope you're having a nice time, and hope everything is going well with you. So, in today's session, we will be talking about valid and invalid order block. Um, like I do say, you there's nothing like a valid or an invalid zone. We just have rules guiding us, giving us what opportunity to trade in that zone. Okay, so this is what I mean by rules guiding us and giving us opportunity to trade in that zone. So just like we all know, we have a supply and a demand zone, and for those that are conversant or familiar to what supply and demand is, you always hear that supply, demand, the willingness to buy is demand, and the willingness to sell, supply, just the basic layman term or definition. The willingness to buy, that is, are you willing? Can you pay for this product? Are you willing to buy that product? That is demand. You need it, so you are willing to pay for it, so that is demand. Then are you willing to sell? You as a producer, the price at which the producer is willing to sell that product, that's what we call the supply. But here on chart, it's quite different, but it's similar. Let's just say it's quite different in the sense that it is a practical application of supply and demand on chart. Now, on charts, you can see the supply and demand zone. Now, talking about supply and demand zone, it comes in line with structure. Just like I do always tell you guys, structure is key. Structure is key. So, coming to supply and demand zone, if you look at places like this, just come up here. You can see, excuse me, just a minute. You can see places like this that are marked. Places like this, they are cool supplies. They are cool supply zone. So based on structural move or structural prerogative, uh that was what made me to mark up that place as a supply zone. I can call it a POI, that is a point of interest, or an AOI, that is an area of interest. So at that point, being my area of interest or my zone of interest, what do I look out for? I look out for a confirmation, what to tag along when price gets to that place. Yeah, price wasn't there yet. Price wasn't in this pink ellipse zone yet. That's my POI, but price wasn't there yet. So you have to wait for price to get there. Let's just mark it, and let's call it POI, something like this. POI. Let's reduce our fonts to, let's say, 14, and let's call it POI. No, not POU, sorry, POI. Calling it POI, not POU. Sorry for that mistake. POI. POI. Okay. And let's change the text font to, let's say, blue. Yeah. So this is my POI, my point of interest, that when price gets into this zone, I will look towards it. Is a zone that I am willing to sell from. That is your supply zone. So fine, in the chart, right on the chart, what do I mean by on the chart? On the chart, the last bullish candle, which is this, the last bullish candle before the bearish candle, which is this, is what we call our supply zone, our order block. That is our bearish order block. But your supply zone, you can hallmark this area, this whole last up move before the down move as a supply zone. So you can either call it a retracement block or a supply zone. You can see how I marked it out from that low to that high. That is the last up move before the down move, the last bullish corrective move before the impulsive move. That is what I called the supply zone. So that is the supply retracement block. Then the other block, you go inside to what? To get your last bullish candle, which is this that I marked out here in this box. The last bullish candle before the bearish candle. Marking it out, let's just give it a horizontal line. Dropping a horizontal line on it, what happens? Let's see, we are trying to spot our price. Let's make this horizontal line something like let's make it red rather. Yeah, let's make it red. So we're trying to spot out and trying to look out for when price gets to that zone. So actually we're waiting for price to get to this zone because price hasn't gotten there yet, but it gave us a footprint. The market itself, how do you look at the market? If you look at playing a what, like a deck of cards now, you are playing with your opponent. Now, the market is your opponent actually, and in the sense you are playing, you are in a game, like playing the same game, in the same game. So what do you look out for? You're looking out for your defensive move one and you to win two. Is that not correct? Is that not right? Yeah, that is what you're looking out for. So, but the market, yeah, what does the market does? What does the market do to you? The market shows you, your opponent tries to shows you his own deck of cards. That's his own set of card. So once you see my card, what will you do? Once you get a peep of my card, what do? You try to defend you try to predict and defend my move, and also trying to win. You try also to win me. That is, you try to send me out of the game. So that is the same thing that's happening to the market. The chart, you look at the chart as your what? As the card that the market is showing. The market shows you his card. That's what is happening here. That's how I take it. I take the market. The market is trying to show you this is the move. This is what I am about to do. So it's left for you to tag along, to create rules around, that will give you successful tagging along, because the market has no feelings. The market is here to also rip you. The market doesn't want to. The market don't want to know if that's your last card, or I don't know. The market has no feelings. To get it. So now, today we'll be talking about valid order block. So like I told you, order block is the last, that's your supply block, that's your bearish order block. It's the last bullish candle before the bearish candle, just like you can see there. I marked it out, so you can see that when price got to this zone, when price got into that area, what the price do? Price actually gave us what? Give us a sell, give us some confirmation in there. If you go down to the lower time frame, as this is the 4-hour time frame, if you go down to the lower time frame, you could see the sell. Now for the validity of our order block, which is this, I will have to delete some stuff right here. So for the validity of our order block, you can see I marked it. So for the validity of another block, what do? Let's pick out our arrow tool. So let's mark out from the low of this candle, from the low of the bullish candle, which is this, from the low of that bullish candle, 1, to the low, up to the high of the third bearish candle, which is this. This is the third bearish candle. It should give us a gap. This is the high of the third bearish candle. So it should give us a gap, which is what we call either an imbalance, an inefficiency, or some other guys calls it the fair value gap. Depends on what you call it. That is one criteria for a validity of an order block. Most times trade may not get to the last bullish candle before the bearish candle. Most times it only mitigates the space in between. You can see this space in between. This is the space I'm talking about. You can see this space in between. You can see that space in between is what I'm talking about. You can see that is the space. That's what we call our imbalance, or our FVG, or our fair value gap. You can see. Let's try to should I say, let's call it FVG, comma MB, imbalance, comma, or we call it inefficiency. So you can either call it any of those names. So that is your imbalance. Either call it your fair value gap or your inefficiency. So that is one criteria of a valued order block after this candle has been formed. That is, after this candle is formed, after the last bearish candle before the bullish candle, after the last bullish candle before the bearish candle is formed, what happens? You must have at least an imbalance which shows, the rapid delivery of price, the volume that was, set in, and you can see that when price gets back to fill that imbalance, it mitigates it, gives us a signal to tag along in the move that the market gave us. So that is what we mean by the imbalance, and also the inefficiency, or you can also call it the fair value gap. Depends on the one you choose to call it, or whatever you want to call it. So moving ahead, after a supply zone, or after a order block is being formed, that is any either bullish or bearish, there must be a BOS, that is a break of structure. It should be accompanied by a break of structure. So let's call this the BOS. Let's call this the BOS. So the break of structure, BOS. So that is it. So you can see some criteria. You can see how it's kind of falling in line with everything. So first of all, we talked about the imbalance being formed. We talked about the BOS, and it must be in line with structure. It must be in line with structure. You don't just pick up every last up candle before the down candle and call it you call it order block, or you call it supply bearish block or anything. No, you don't do that. You actually have to make it match or make it tag along with structure, because structure is key here in the market. You can't just trade without structure. So structure tells you what has been happening and what's likely to happen. You should be reactive to price. You are trading price. You're not trading the commodity, you are trading price. So you should be reactive to price. You don't just try to predict every single move. Rather, you try to react to what price is doing. You trade along with the price. Okay. So that is one. Those are some criteria on what will I call it now? On validity of of a order block or imbalance, or was a supply zone or demand zone. Now this is a supply zone. Actually, this was actually a supply zone. Now let's go to a demand zone. Let's pick out one. Let's go to a demand zone. I could use this, but let's not use this. Let's just try to use a proper, let's just say a proper price delivery. Yeah, actually we can also use this. Now if you look at this based on inline structure, you can see there was a break here. Actually, there was a break here, showing us some intermediary change in the structural prerogative. There was a BOS there, that is a break of structure. Like I said, the change of prerogative, that is the change of some subsidiary move. There was a BOS. Now that BOS, looking at that BOS, what happened? What was formed? You can see this other block that's here, that's for the demand zone. Now the last bearish candle, the last black candle, my bearish candle is black. I actually made it black. You can also change, you can get your settings to your test. You can set your charts to whatsoever you want it to be. Now example of what I do tell you guys that most times you must not always get the actual tap on your order block. That is why you should consider your whole retracement block and wait for a confirmation, your own confirmation to play out depending on the kind of trader you are. Fine. Looking at that, that was a BOS. That was your demand zone, the last bearish candle before the bullish candle. Now coming to mark out the imbalance from the high of the last black candle, we mark it out. Okay, one, to the low of the third candle, which is this. This is the low of the third candle. This guy here is the low of the third candle. So this is the low of the third candle. Now, where is the imbalance? You can see this imbalance was filled immediately, but not all imbalances are filled immediately after price goes in its own direction. But this imbalance was filled immediately. You can see it. This imbalance was filled immediately. You can see how price came into it to tap, then price was delivered, and if you got tagged along, you made some dough. You get it? So that is it. That is how you should trade price. That is how you should react to the market, and that is what I talked about. That is the validity of other blocks for those that really use the other block and other things. So that is how to know a valid demand or supply zone and trade how tag along with it. So this is what I'm waiting for. You can see this is just a trade idea, and you can also pick up from it too. I'm waiting for Euro USD, as I also only trade Euro USD and US 30. This is the dollar index and the Euro index, DXY and Euro X. Those are just dollar and euro index. I just use them to strengthen the analysis. Why my watch list, I only trade Euro USD and US 30. So though the short was taken, I took the short because I know where prices are kind of heading to. I know what's kind of going to happen to the price. So I'm waiting for this actual trade, which may or may not be delivered. But I don't just enter. I wait for my confirmation before I go in. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and let's like the video if it was educational. Thank you.